Recent reports show that two of the NHL's top players may be interested in the Chicago Blackhawks in this upcoming free agency. Now, I'm going to be talking about who these players are, what are the odds of them actually signing with the Blackhawks, and who may be the better choice in this video. But before we get into all of that, we notice that 83% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your Blackhawks news, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, sub to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the major news. But like I said, a major report has come out explaining that two of the NHL's top free agents may be willing to sign with the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard come this free agency. Now, this report comes out from Barstool Spittin' Chicklets, Matt Murley. He said, with Kobe Armstrong and Mike Grinnell on a rumor that Elias Pettersson and William Nylander may have interest in playing with Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, these are still reports. It's very early before free agency, but these are two of the top players in the NHL. Two players who are looking for a major contract boost come this next offseason. So I'm going to be explaining what the possibilities of these two players are, how they would fit, how the Blackhawks would have to do this if they wanted these two players on their team. But if both these guys are rumored to be interested in the Blackhawks, this has a major advantage coming this offseason to add to this team with a lot of expiring contracts. So I'm going to start this one off here with a name that we've spoken about before on the Chicago Blackhawks stance, and that is William Nylander. Now, we made a video, I would probably say a month ago, talking about what are the odds that William Nylander could sign with the Chicago Blackhawks. And at that point, we didn't really know much of anything to come yet. But now this report comes out, and this is another major boost, if this is true, that William Nylander would be a phenomenal option for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, William Nylander, I'm sure most of you know right now, absolutely tearing it up on the Toronto Maple Leafs, currently on his contract making $6.9 million. Now, he's going to be a UFA after the season, and will definitely be commanding or demanding a lot more money than what he's currently making. And the question is, will the Leafs be able to do that? Because the Leafs definitely want him back, but there's a lot of other teams in the NHL who will also be interested in a player like William Nylander that don't come around too often in free agency. But I think the Maple Leafs will have the number one option. You know, they'll have their control over William Nylander, but the Blackhawks, I really think, are number two in this deal. The Blackhawks have so much cap space that they can work with. Currently, they have $17.5 million, but also have pretty much their entire roster expiring this offseason. You can see here, this is their current roster, excluding Peter Mrazek and a few players on the IR. You can see all but 5 are expiring, which is a huge boat of money. Now, you have to assume some of these guys will re-sign. Some of these guys will be walking, but they're going to be re-signing a few, but they're still going to have a lot of cap space regardless. And William Nylander, I think, is a perfect fit for this lineup. Obviously, Connor Bedard is going to be the face of this franchise. William Nylander, being, the third option in Toronto, might fit perfectly, getting a higher role into this team, but not being, that one face, that one superstar that all eyes will be on this team. Now, I'm sure, William Nylander's absolutely fine under pressure. He's okay under pressure, but not having, an entire fan base watching you, critiquing you on every move, might be something that William Nylander wants, which is a perfect location if he wants to come to Chicago. Chicago fans are loyal. We heard it in Connor Bedard where he got his overtime goal the other night. The crowd was electric. He was saying that it's just incredible, the crowd, and I'm sure William Nylander enjoys that in Toronto, but I think that this would be a fantastic fit, being able to get a lot of money from the Chicago team if Kyle Davidson is willing to do it. And Kyle Davidson's also said that he's not really looking to make too many moves at the trade deadline, not looking to re-sign everybody he has. So that kind of leaves us with a thought of what is Kyle Davidson going to do in the offseason. And having these two possible players, be options for the Blackhawks, I think is such a fantastic opportunity, and one I think needs to be done. Now, I'm going to say that William Nylander is my favorite option at the moment, and I'll explain why before we move on here to Elias Pettersson. Now, we also know that Elias Pettersson is having another fantastic season with the Vancouver Canucks. They completely turned it around from last season where they were struggling. They had a lot of issues going on in the dressing room, whatnot, and the staff, the management, but they've completely turned it around this year and are one of the top teams in the NHL. One thing about Elias Pettersson that is not the same as William Nylander is that he is an RFA. So if the Blackhawks did want to sign him, they're going to have to give up some draft picks, what would likely be 4 first-rounders. Now, I really don't know if Kyle Davidson wanted to do this, but, Elias Pettersson is another guy like William Nylander who don't come around too often. And now, I can't remember the exact amount, but since it would be an RFA, they'd have to offer sheet him, and above a certain amount, it would have to be 4 first-round picks, which they do have all of those. However, I'm not sure if, giving up those 4 first-round picks for Elias Pettersson to the Vancouver Canucks is exactly the right option at this point for the Blackhawks. Many teams may be considering doing it. I can see a lot of teams that are in the running for a playoff run, close to a cup doing this option, but I don't think the Blackhawks right now are in the right spot to move their 4 first-round picks. They're not going to be a good team yet. Regardless of if they get both of these players, one of them, maybe they make a bunch of offseason moves, they're still not going to be a top team in the NHL yet. We know that they're the bottom of the standings here this year. Next year, I expect a slight increase, but not too much once again. So giving up those 4 first-round picks is a major risk, knowing that these picks could be, top 20, top 15, top 10, maybe even top 5, depending on how many changes there are come this offseason and come this season at the trade deadline. But Elias Pettersson, once again, it is an option. Like I said, it's a very, very good option to have if he is interested, but the offer sheet is the main thing. And I'm assuming the Canucks won't let him go anywhere. I'm assuming the Canucks are going to try and lock him up for as long as they can, for the cheapest price they can, but I expect they're going to be paying more than what they want to keep him, knowing some teams might throw in an offer sheet, and they're going to have to match it. So it really does depend on if Pettersson wants to sign the offer sheet, and then again, if Kyle Shanahan wants to give up those 4 first-round picks. So I would put Elias Pettersson, at the bottom of the list of, the possible major free agents that we could see. But William Nylander, I have to say, that's the one I want to see. I really want to see Nylander in a Blackhawks jersey. I think that he would be absolutely lighting up in Chicago next to Connor Bedard. And, how do you not want to play with Connor Bedard? We've seen what he's been doing this season. He's easily the best player on the team right now, and will be for, I would say, a long time. And being able to add just to him, being able to play with him, being able to help you put up points, being able to help him put up points, I think that's something the Blackhawks want, Bedard wants, and I think that's something that Nylander would want too. He's played with superstars already, so he's used to it. He knows how to play with every type of player, snipers, playmakers, two-way forwards, whatnot, grinders, enforcers, and, maybe playing him with a guy like Bedard, and whether you don't play him on the same line, I think that Kyle Davidson going and getting him, Luke Richardson being able to give him, a new game plan, playing with Connor Bedard, I think this would be a fantastic idea. So if I were to put my money on either of these two, even though they're only reports and rumors, I would put William Nylander. Pettersson, like I said, is still a great option. However, I'm unsure whether Kyle Davidson would want to give up those 4 first-round picks, which is, I think, the main piece that Nylander will be that guy to take a look at. Kyle Davidson says what he said. I said earlier in the video. He don't know if he's going to be very active at the trade deadline. He don't know if he's going to re-sign everybody in free agency. That's leaving him with a lot of money to spend in the offseason, free agency, whatnot. So, William Nylander is easily an option that could happen. It's also depending on if William Nylander wants to play on a rebuilding team, which if he does have interest in playing with Connor Bedard, that is a very good sign. So I'll be keeping updates with all of this. If we see anything come out from, Elliot Friedman, Frank Seravalli, David Pagnot, any of the major guys that everybody knows, I'll follow up with another video, because this is a major report from Barstool here, if this does end up being true. But that's all I got for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. But, yep, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.